Okay, so we're looking at linear and non-linear graphs. Specifically, we're looking at the equation of a straight line. Now, you may get lots of questions, or a few questions, where you are asked, given the equation of a straight line, to identify the gradient and the y-intercept. So just looking at the equation y equals mx plus c, that's the form that we can put an equation of a straight line into, which allows us to pick out the gradient and the y-intercept nice and easily. So remember, when it is y equals something, alright, so nothing else, just y equals, the number in front of the x, what we call the coefficient of x, that is the gradient, how steep the line is. And then the constant, or the number that's on its own, the number without any x attached to it, that is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept, remember, is the number, or the point at which the line cuts the y-axis. Alright? So let's look at this one. Pretty straightforward. It is already y equals something, so I don't need to rearrange it. It is exactly the form that we've just described. So that means I can just pick out very quickly, what is the coefficient of x? Well, the number in front of the x is an 8. Take particular care, please. Look for the sign in front of the 8. Well, there isn't one here, which must mean it's positive. So the gradient, or n, is equal to 8. The y-intercept, that is the figure, the number without a pronumeral, without x attached to it. So it's the constant. I can see here, well, that's the 3. Again, take care of the sign. It is a positive 3. So the y-intercept is positive 3. That is pretty straightforward. When they're given to you like that, just take care of the signs. That's the only thing you need to watch out for. Alright, moving on to example 2. Here we can see clearly that y isn't on its own. It's not y equals something. It is in general form. 2x plus y minus 6 equals 0. What I need to do is I need to rearrange this so it is y equals. Because if I do that, I can pick the numbers straight out. So let's go for it. I want to get y on its own. What do I need to do? Well, I need to take 2x from both sides, and I need to add 6 to both sides. So make sure I do that to both sides. These simplify, which is the whole point, which means I'm left with y equals negative 2x plus 6. So I took 2x from both sides and I added 6 to both sides. Now this is in the form y equals. Now I can simply take the number in front of the x, the coefficient, as the gradient, and I can take the number on its own, the constant, as the y-intercept, just like I did before. So I can see here the gradient m is equal to negative 2. Be very careful of that sign, please. It is negative 2. The y-intercept, again, it is the constant, the number without the x. I can see it's a 6, it's a positive 6, so I can just put positive 6 there. All right. The final example is probably one of the more difficult that you may find. Y equals, well, that's a good start. It is y equals something, so I don't need to start taking and adding things to both sides. I already have everything I want on the other side of the equals away from y. So I should be able to pick out a number in front of x, the coefficient, and I should be able to pick out the constant, the thing without an x, as the y-intercept. The only problem is, you can see here, I've got a denominator all over 3, which may seem initially a little confusing. This is what you need to do. 2x minus 1 over 3 is exactly the same as 2x over 3 take away 1 over 3. I can split it up like that. It means the same thing. And I can go further and say, well, hang on, what's the number in front of the x? I could write 2 over 3x take away 1/3. So have a look what I've done there. The denominator was all over 3 to begin with. Then I split it up and put an over 3 for both terms, for the 2x and the minus 1. Then I went further and said, well, hang on, look at this. 2x over 3 is exactly the same as 2/3 multiplied by x. I brought the number, the coefficient, out in front. So now I can say clearly, what is the coefficient of x? What is the number out in front of x? Well, it is 2/3. And it's positive 2/3, so I make sure I spot that. And then the y-intercept, that is the constant, the number without a variable, without x attached to it. And I can see that it is a third. Be very careful, it is negative a third, so minus a third. So that's another example of a possible question you may be faced with.